Riverness, the appeal of a river, the way it speaks to us, has to do with our craving for a sense of direction within the seeming randomness of the world. Narrative offers us the same pleasure, a shape and direction imposed on time. And so we tell stories and listen to them as we listen to the coursing of water. One night I was telling my children stories about the Ohio. They were still young enough to sit still when Daddy told stories. Now they tell stories to their own children, so this is quite a while ago. One night I was telling stories to my children about the Ohio. We were in Cincinnati's riverfront park, sitting on the curved, stair-stepped levee they call the Serpentine Wall. It is the right shape for the river, the shape of the snaky brown god. I am glad the wall is there, a wise and handsome creation, a sign of what we can do when we have our wits about us. Tires wind overhead on the meshwork of a bridge, the same one from which, as a boy of 5, I had first glimpsed the Ohio. Behind us, kids waded, squealing in fountains, and in front of us, a dozen roaring boats crisscrossed the river. Eva and Jesse, my children, Eva and Jesse had heard the stories before, but they indulged me by pretending every word was news. I told them how the tusks of mammoths discovered at Big Bone Lick were ground up to make fertilizer. I told them about river catfish weighing more than the anglers who caught them, about hollow sycamores large enough to shelter families, about floods that lifted cows through the second-story windows of a Louisville hotel. I told them how in the days before sonar and radar, travelers estimated their distance from shore in darkness or fog by heaving stones and listening for a splash or a thud. I told them how the northern shore, the shore where we made our home, had been known for a century as the Indian side, and how slaves crossed the river by night on their way to freedom, and how steamships raced with their safety valves tied down, how pirates infested the cliffs of Illinois, and how in spring the thawing ice grumbled like cannon fire. I rattled on because I wanted my children to grow up carrying the Ohio in their minds. Then after a while, I realized that like tourists and speculators, I was not speaking of the river, but of us two-legged wonders. So I shut up. And as the darkness thickened, traffic thinned on the bridge, boats put in for shore, the fountains stopped sputtering, and the waiters went home. Eventually there came a moment when the only sound was the shudder of the great, muscular dragon body slithering in its bed. And that was the truest speech about the river.